Hey everybody, welcome back to the 163rd episode of Taps and Patience. I'm AJ with Subtract Manufacturing and Audacity Micro, here with Harrison and Precision Ingenuity. Hi Harrison. How you doing?
How we doing, AJ?
I feel like that was
I'm doing good.
Quicker intro than I normally do. We like speed ran the intro.
A little bit. But I'm doing good. How are
delay?
You?
Do we have latency?
Maybe. I don't know.
It's possible that we have some latency going on.
We might have to do like the clap test. Like I'll clap and then you see how quick you. Okay, that seemed pretty fast. That seemed pretty instant.
Are you sure? Because I did it sarcastically before you.
I mean, like it looked like the clap happened. Okay. Yeah, it seems good.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Jacob, we just did a bad intro. There's a 50-50 chance that intro stays in.
We'll see. Do we need to restart or just keep going?
No, I think we're committed at this point.
Okay.
So what have you been up to?
Well, I'm a solo man now. My wife is gone for almost a month. So I'm rocking this. Yeah, she's gone to Europe for school. She's doing classes abroad. So it's just me, myself,
awesome.
and I. Yeah,
because she was gone to like Paraguay or somewhere for like a month, right? Recently?
No, it was for a couple weeks, and it was down near Mexico, somewhere down there. The exact place is escaping me, but it's north of Brazil, south of Mexico. So in that little area in between.
There's like 5 countries there. Or 10.
Yeah, so I forget exactly which one it was, but she did a mission trip there and was there for 1 or 2 weeks.
Okay. And so this is much longer.
So my wife is a world traveler this year, so she went down there. We both took a trip to Japan, and now she's going all over Europe. So, yeah, man, she's a world traveler this year.
Well, that's awesome.
So it's funny because 2 of them were for school. One of them because she was a teacher, and one because she's a student.
Is she still finishing up some like college or something?
Masters.
Yep. Okay. I probably knew that at some point.
Yeah. So anyway, running solo for a little bit. But other than that, just busy at the shop.
Nice. You'll probably be spending a lot more time in the shop without a wife around because like why go home?
Exactly. So which is good in a way because we are pretty busy. So that'll hopefully allow us to get caught up some. So, but we're in a position right now where I'm actually like 1 or 2 weeks ahead on programming parts.
Wow.
Right now.
So you're just waiting for machine time.
Yeah. So we've got enough work that like most of the jobs that we're running through the machines are like 10 to 20 parts. And so there's enough time in between those jobs that we can program ahead. And so we just keep programming further and further ahead. And I think we're like 2 or 3 weeks ahead at this point, which is a position we haven't been in a while.
So when I program significantly time separately from when I run the parts, I always like struggle a little bit to get the parts set up and running. Like I keep having to go back to the program and check in what I did. And like, do you have any process or systems in place for, leaving yourself good notes? And
we're improving that over time. So the best process that we've kind of started to latch onto is we have a special notes block that we put at the beginning of all of our programs that basically is detailing all of the critical information that is outside of the program, be it soft jaws for the robot, things like vice pressure. If we are using torque wrenches, the torque setting for the different ops on the lathe, it would be how much stick out for the first part. If we're doing a bar feeding operation, so basically any intangibles that is required for running the part, we're trying to document in there. The next stage that we would take it is getting that information transferred over to ProShop and maybe including photos that detail,
Okay.
like that show the setups. We haven't gotten to a point where we've needed that yet, but I could see that becoming something down the line where if we have a really tricky setup and we're holding the part in a funky way, that we need to detail it so the next person coming up behind will be able to easily figure that out.
I built a module in my ERP AMRP for doing like setup sheets. It's actually setup sheets and travelers are kind of merged in my workflow, where they're kind of one big long document. I found that when like intern Jacob is here, I will go through the effort of doing that and, you know, making good sheets with good notes for him. When I was doing my class, I kind of tested my formatting and my sheets and the information that were there to make sure that they worked. But as soon as it was back to just me, I was definitely not bothering. Like the parts I was programming and setting up today, like I could have stuck them in AMRP, but I took one look at it and went, nah, this is just extra work. And so I did my usual workflow of take a screenshot and print that out. And that has all the tools on it. So I can, you know, go choose all the tools from the tool rack.
So we don't have a traditional setup sheet for our tooling. And the reason we haven't done that is because we have a computer at every single machine. And so we just pull up that job at the computer, and then there's no reason to print out the tool list. Yeah, on Fusion.
Yeah.
So there's no reason to print out the tool list. And then we have tool tags on the machine, so we can very easily see what tools are in the machine and then go grab the tools that are already set up or set up new tools as needed.
Yeah, I used to be more set up that way, and then I don't know, things rearranged, and now I don't have a computer right by my machine anymore. What I generally just like the list of tool paths is all I need, because that has the tool numbers right there. And at this point, I know what all the tool numbers are, at least if it's a standard one. And most of the time I have them set up. So it's just a matter of looking at that list, pulling out old ones from the machine, putting in the new ones, and hitting go.
Speaking of tools, we just had to get another tool cart because we had one tool cart, and we had to get a second one because we'd filled the first one up.
You guys probably have way more tools and tool holders than I do. I think I'm at like 30. Maybe it's 32. But I'm probably a lot more consistent in the parts I take, where I have a lot more shared tooling between the parts. And like I tend not to use drills and stuff like that to change over time.
So we have 3 mills. 2 of them hold 30 tools. 1 of them holds 50.
Yeah.
All of them are full. So that's 70 tool holders, or no. What would that be? 60. That's 110 tool holders right there.
Yeah.
Plus both of the convenience packages for the Haas machines. Those hold maybe another 20 tools, and both of those are about 80% full, plus the tool cart. So I would guess total, we're probably rocking close to 200 tool holders.
Which I think is reasonable, especially for you guys. I redid the math. I'm actually closer to 50 tools, or tool holders, I should say.
So we're definitely, we've slowed down recently in buying tool holders, because I think we've gotten to a stage where we're not having to set up and tear down nearly as many tools as we once did. Although that could change if we ever do finally get freaking power grip, which I've talked about for a long time. It's just never happened, but at some point it will happen. It's a matter of time, but it keeps getting put on the back burner of stuff we need to get. So right now, the top of our list is a high quality boring head, so we can not invest so much in reamers.
Yeah.
So, and I think that'll be very useful in the long run, but we just haven't had enough work to justify it yet. We just keep having random onesie twosie parts that show up, and eventually we'll get to a point where we'll just bite the bullet and do it.
Yep.
So
Yeah, I have 50 something tool holders. I think two of them are side lock for my half-inch roughers. I have four ER25s and everything else is ER16.
So we've recently just started getting into tool regrinding to try to save some
Really?
costs. Mm-hmm.
Interesting. I just break my
So,
tools. They don't last long enough.
well, when your tools cost, $70 a tool, and you go through, one or two of them a day with how many parts we're going, potentially, in stainless, that adds up quick. So we're looking at trying to reduce some of our costs and have some of that stuff reground to try to get some more life out of them. And I think it'll make a big difference. So we've got our first samples back, and we've started collecting all of our tools of our highest volume tools for regrind in stainless.
Interesting. Yeah,
So
I don't think regrinding my 3/16 inch rougher is going to be worth it.
yeah, nothing smaller than probably 3/8.
Yeah.
3/8 is, I think, the smallest regrind we're considering. Anything smaller than that, and it's like you said, it's not really worth it.
Would you only use those for roughing?
Yeah. So what we're thinking about doing is our roughing tools. So we have roughing tools and we have finishing tools, but we've been switching over to Frasia. And so for our roughing tools, and so what I'm thinking is that new Frasia tools will be finishers, and we'll get rid of some of our finishing tools because Frasia's tools do a really good job of finishing as well. And then once they've gone past that point, they will go into the roughers category. So we'll have two tool numbers, and then the roughers will be the same ones. And then as they keep getting reground, eventually they'll get taken off the table. But that way we can keep track of the diameters on a per machine basis for the roughers, and just keep recycling them through.
That sounds like a kind of a huge headache to me because like you're sacrificing some process consistency where you could
How
have
so?
a larger variation in the diameter of the tool. So even if it's only a rougher, let's say one of your roughers is reground and it's, 6 thou under nominal. Then you have another one that's reground and it's 11 thou under nominal. Then you, even if as a rougher, then you're left with a bunch more stock when you go to do the finishing pass, which can cause various amounts of deflection. I feel like it'll just cause more chasing your tail on tight tolerance parts.
Did you not hear where we're going to track it in each machine?
Well, yeah, no, you have to track that in each machine. So are you gonna post different code? I guess you do a wear offset.
No, we'll post different code.
You're gonna post every different code for every different reground tool that you have.
Whenever we use it, yeah.
That seems like a lot of added work.
How is it a lot of added work? You just update the diameter once.
But then let's say that rougher wears out and you switch to a different regrind. You're gonna then
you just update the value, repost, and you're done.
Would you do this on production code?
Probably not production code, but most of this stuff is job. I don't really have any production stainless large stuff that's using these tools. Most of my production stuff is smaller stuff that's using less than 1/4 inch tools.
Okay.
So this is all job shop where I might have 20 parts here, 10 parts here, 5 parts there. So typically, on my largest jobs, I might use 2 tools. Like I might burn through 2 tools on my largest job. So I might have to repost twice, which is not a big deal.
Variation just scares me. And like a lot of the work that I have been doing recently in my shop to get my workflow better is reducing variation. Like I used to have, like depending on the day and the whim and lead times, like, 3 different places where I may have bought an 1/8 inch flat, 3 flute end mill, but reducing that to one standardized tool and putting in a Kanban in place to make sure I always have that one and never get in a situation where, I need to buy the McMaster one so I can get it faster or whatever. Like those little improvements have been some of the biggest productivity gains that I've seen. And the thought of intentionally adding variation is very scary to me.
So what would you use a reground tool for? finishing only.
I just wouldn't.
There's the problem.
Whoop, some cost.
Yeah. See, we're these tools are getting expensive over time, and we've invested a lot of money into them. And so if I can cut my tool price in half or more than half, it's worth it. It's worth that small trade off of a little extra time and making sure that we do it the right way.
My biggest cost, like the where I get in trouble in jobs, is if the part doesn't come out right the first try, and I end up, having to remake it. Like that's the thing that gets me. And this is, I think we're running into very much just a difference in our businesses where tools are such a minuscule percentage of the total revenue on a job for me that I basically don't even need to consider it most of the time.
Mm-hmm. And if I was only running small tools, I would agree.
Yeah. Just switch your rougher to 3/16 and you'll be fine.
Yeah, it'd sit there for 4 hours while it roughs. I don't think so. Yeah, so no. So this is my trade-off instead of going to insert tooling where they only might last 2 or 3 parts before I need to rotate them. Because I've tried insert tooling and I just can't get the tool life out of them. And so carbide is only going up, and it's going up fast. And so all my tooling is going up really fast. So regrinds is the best solution to try to reduce costs as the prices are going up.
Or you raise your prices.
Yes, but I don't want to raise my prices so much if I can help it.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, I probably need to raise my prices anyways, but regardless of that fact, like anything that I can do to reduce my prices, it's not as big of an inconvenience as you think it is.
You regrind the tool, you sell them on eBay as new, and then you use that money to buy.
No.
People definitely do that, and that's why you shouldn't buy tooling from random sellers on eBay. Yeah.
So, but no, it's it'll be fun. It'll be interesting. I've got my first regrind tools that I'm testing, and so far they've been working pretty good. So
okay. How much do they actually remove in regrinding?
The first ones, I sent in some 1/2-inch tools, and they took about 12 thou off the diameter.
Okay. Do you have a way of marking, or is it obvious enough when a tool has been reground?
They laser mark it a QR code onto the tool that it's been reground.
Oh, cool.
On the shank.
Does the QR code provide any information, or just like a link to their website?
I haven't tried to scan it, but I suspect it's so they can track the tool however many times it comes in, and then after so many times they'll say it can't be reground beyond that certain point.
Yeah, because eventually the geometry of the tool is just going to be gone.
Yeah.
Like it'll be all core with no flutes.
Yeah, so eventually we'll get to a point where we can't use it anymore. There we go. So, but it'll be interesting to try. So, see how it goes.
I am interested in hearing your results here. And again, this is like very much different businesses. It's something that I wouldn't touch with a 10-foot pole, but I definitely see why you would do it in your use case.
Yeah, because the one of the other areas it's going to be very beneficial in is that for our hard turned parts, the drill bits, we've been using Go drills from Kennametal, and we get so many parts before we have to replace them. And a regrind on them is just touching the tips of those, so they're not changing the diameter. It's just shortening the length a little bit and getting those redone. And we had the 50% off voucher for a long time because we bought so many machines that basically we had 50% off for like 2.5 years. And that is now gone, and Kennametal's raising their prices at the exact same time. So our Kennametal tooling has gone up like 150% from what we were paying.
Yeah.
So that's really what started driving this more than anything. So
yeah. Well, I'm excited to see where you end up with this.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. So I'm excited to see as well. More than anything, if it just brings our general tooling costs down, or keeps it the same as the tooling prices go up, I will be happy.
Yeah.
So
My worry is that it will drive your tool prices down. Like, absolutely, you're going to spend less money on tooling, but will it like
Mhm.
secretly, hiddenly drive your scrap rate up?
We'll be able to track all that. We're tracking our scrap rate as is. It's a
Nice.
requirement with AS 9100.
Yeah.
So we're required to track our scrap rate, and so we will know if it is a problem. So, which is why I want to break it into two different tool numbers, because basically I want to have a second number that says, hey, if you're using this number, the diameter is not what it says.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
And to check it.
definitely.
So, and then we'll have probably like a separate tool library for each machine, so that you can, while you're programming it, you can just grab the tool out of that machine and know that the diameter is set properly. And then if you ever change out a tool, you change it in the main library as well as in your file, and then whoever comes up behind them, just make sure they grab the updated diameter so that we can track it that way.
Yep.
Which is, it is admittedly a little extra work, but I don't have a way to measure the diameter and have adaptive roughing take that into consideration with Fusion.
Because wear comp doesn't work on a roughing.
Exactly. And that's basically what we use all those for.
How much does a like regrinding a 1/2-inch tool cost?
It's between 30 to 50%, or it's a 30 to 50% savings off of the initial tool cost.
Is that how they quote it? Do they like go look at the original tool and?
No, I'm just basing it off of the different regrinders we've talked to. So I don't remember, because that's roughly how it is like regrinding in general. The more expensive the tool, the bigger percentage you save, is how it works.
Makes sense.
So if like I was doing a 1-inch tool, I could see up to a 70% savings off of regrinds, versus if I'm doing a 3/8, I might only see a 20 to 30% savings. So, which I found out. Go ahead.
Oh, and I was going to say, and you said it was a 50% ish for a 1/2-inch tool.
I don't know if it was quite that much. I'd have to go look, but I want to say it's close to it. Like a 50%
of Frasia pricing, or 50% of online carbide pricing?
Frasia. To have it reground by Frasia.
Oh, are you having them reground by Frasia?
We didn't the first few, but I called and talked to my rep, and he said they offer a regrinding program.
Oh, interesting.
And he said that one of his customers that he has spends like $2.5 million per year on tooling, and over half of that is regrinds.
Interesting.
So
they must be doing a lot of production work.
Yeah. So I mean, if they're doing production work and they're spending that much on tooling, like that's a lot, and that much on regrinds, that's a lot. So you can obviously do it in a production setting somehow. Mm-hmm. Like they have processes for it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we'll see. It'll be an interesting, a new realm to try to kind of test the waters on.
Yeah. We have a bunch of regrinds at school. I don't know where they came from, but somebody donated like a whole box of them.
Mm-hmm.
But we only use those on the manual machines.
Are they high speed or carbide?
Most of them are high speed steel. Yep.
I was gonna say high speed steel regrinds are really popular, like from old school stuff that I've seen.
Yeah. Well, so. I don't know if it's true, but I think of regrinding being a kind of an old school thing.
Yeah, because high speed steel only lasted so long in the past. So and then people
not long at all.
And then people started using carbide, and then they lasted so much longer that they didn't bother with the regrinds. But now carbide prices is going up so much that regrinding is really becoming popular again.
Yeah. Well, and when carbide was new, it was really expensive.
Yeah, so there might have been some regrinding back then too.
Yeah. Well, and people were already used to it because of the high-speed steel tools, which again got dull so fast that you had to regrind them like constantly.
Yeah. Yep.
Interesting. Yeah, that's something I'll have to think about more. It is something that at first exposure I am allergic to on all kinds of levels, but that doesn't mean it's wrong. Like it just, I don't know.
Well, if you're only making stuff this big, I would
Yeah.
say
Well,
regrinding doesn't make sense.
and my most expensive end mills are my smallest ones. Like my Harvey 1/4 inch reach that's 10 thou diameter, or maybe that one's 20 thou. Like, that's the $100 end mill.
Mm-hmm.
And that one does not get dull. It cuts and then it breaks, and there is no in between.
Yeah. You're not sending that one off to be reground because there's not enough material to regrind. It would come back as a different tool.
Yeah. And even like my 1/2 inch end mills, I may go through 3 1/2 inch end mills a year, because the vast majority of my usage of 1/2 inch end mills is aluminum cutting fixtures. And, like this week was the very rare time that I was making a part that was like 6 inches by 2 inches out of mild steel. And, that one actually got a 1/2 inch end mill. And I might actually have to replace it after a year of, parts like that. I don't know where I was going with that. But
we've started collecting tools for regrind as of a couple months ago to like try this. And I've already got like 24 1/2 inch end mills.
Yeah.
So over a period of, I don't know, 3 or 4 months. And so assuming, I don't remember their exact price. I mean, they're probably going to be close to $100. So we'll just say $100. So, that's $2,400 in tools that are basically, used up that I could replace for $2,400, or I could spend half of that and get regrinds and save $1,200.
But that's like, that's like 2 parts though, that like something going wrong.
Yeah, but if you've got the diameter right, what's going to go wrong?
It's just introducing opportunities for error. Like human mistakes happen, and the more complicated the system, the more possible error.
Everything. I mean, you got processes for it. Like, I understand you want to reduce complexity. This is like the question of like lean, of like how much inventory does one need to hold, and it's different answers depending on what you're doing.
Yeah, that was one of the things I was going to talk about. Like literally, I was just thinking about that because I have officially started implementing Kanban in my shop, and the like deciding how many 1/2 inch end mills to keep on hand is like a question that I was thinking about literally today. And it's weird because of how, like, with the production, the type of work I do, I would said production I do, but it's not production. The prototyping work I do, I generally will use a tool for like a 1/2 inch, my 1/2 inch aluminum end mill. I will use that tool for a long time. I don't think I've bought 1/2 inch aluminum end mills for 2 years. Probably, actually, I think this was the batch I bought when I bought the Tormach, like when I was tooling up that machine. However, when things go wrong, like if you're having a challenging part, it would not be that unusual or like that unforeseeable to like, if you're making a batch of 5 parts where the work holding's funky, to break 3 end mills in that. Like it wouldn't be good. Like, but sometimes you struggle with parts, especially when you're doing production work, especially when you specialize in weird stuff that other people don't want. So do I, how many of those 1/2 inch end mills do I stock? Because really I could get away with 2 until I can't. So I decided on a minimum of 3 and a maximum of 6. We'll see if that's a bad idea or not. It's probably overkill, but it's only overkill until it's not.
But yeah, but see, it's a different answer for each tool and for each scenario. And so I feel like I'm not doing this for all my tools. I'm doing this for specific roughers. I have like, out of my 300 tools, we're talking 5 tools that I'm going to be sending off for regrind on a regular basis because I go through so many of them.
Yeah, that's
so.
We may
We'll
just
see.
never see eye to eye on this one, and that's okay. Makes the podcast more interesting. I can see the thumbnail now.
You need like a Hamlet to be or not to be or something like that.
I was
With
thinking more
like a guy holding an end mill out with like a light shining on him.
I was thinking more like boxing with us fighting.
Oh,
Jacob, thumbnail ideas.
We're waxing poetically about this, right? We're not coming to blows
yet. Just wait, IMTS is coming up. That's how we get people to come to our meetup.
Yeah, there you go. Form two teams.
We'll get to a path to put in a boxing rink and skating rink, boxing ring.
Oh, that's funny.
No, I think the answer is we have very different businesses, and stuff that you do is going to be crazy to me, and stuff that I do is going to be crazy to you.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah, because go ahead.
I use the most conservative possible speeds and feeds, and I don't use drills except for rare circumstances.
Yeah.
And
I have a large assortment of drill sizes.
Yeah, you would just not make money if you programmed parts like I did.
Yeah. So, like, the SVM has been on some fairly large stainless parts for the last 3 weeks, just going nonstop. And in fact, today it just finished, and we're going to be switching it over to aluminum. But it's gone through several large stainless tools. We're going through multiple tools a week. Because most of our stainless tooling of our 1/2 inch, and it's gotten better. So, like, one thing that we also did to save on carbide was ironically buy more tools, because we bought a 4-flute tool designed for that more shallow cut, and then we saved our 5-flute E-cuts for longer fluted cuts, and so it's not doing the shallower cuts. We're switching tools instead of using the same tool, and we've increased the tool life on those by like close to 50%. So where before I might have been getting 3 to 6 hours, I'm now getting closer to 6 to 10 in the cut on stainless roughing. So just by adding another tool into the mix.
In your math, did you look at the value of scrap carbide? Because if scrap carbide is like $56 a pound, that would close your delta between regrinding and buying a new tool.
Not very much. Not nearly as much.
Not that much. Okay.
No. So, yeah, I'd have to go double check it, but I don't think it'll change it nearly as much as you think.
I don't know how much a 1/2 inch end mill weighs. They're heavier than you would think because carbide's really dense, but
that is true. But I don't know. But I'm going to try the regrinding one way or another. And so far I've been happy with it. So, I've got 1 or 2 regrind parts working right now. So, and for go ahead.
Do you have to change speeds and feeds as well?
Not if you just change your diameter in the program.
Okay.
It does all that for you.
But the geometry of the tool's changing, and like you have to assume the factory edge will always be the best edge that tool ever has, and a regrind would be of lower quality, if for no other reason than they're having to refixture it.
I haven't seen that be the case with the regrind I've used so far. It sounds fine. Runs great. So, this is all stuff that we're experimenting with. It might end up being the problem over time, but from the first sample rate that I've seen, I haven't noticed that. So
we need to make a calendar event to check in a year.
But you're really against this, aren't you?
I am. I don't see it being enough of a value to compensate for the inherent risks and costs. I do agree that carbide tooling is getting more expensive, and it seems like it's only going to get worse in the future.
Yes. So if I can get these processes dialed out now, it's going to give me a competitive advantage over everyone else.
Fair.
It's not doing that.
Yeah.
So, because eventually the tooling the part is going to cost less than the tooling if I'm breaking them or going through them faster.
Mm-hmm.
So, but and I think there's a couple things like having the change of having finished tools that I use until they wear down and then just treating them as roughers. That is also going to increase my tool life if I'm I'm going to get more out of my tools before regrind, and then after they've been reground, I'll get more tool life out of them still. So I think with those two changes, my tooling price will be cut down substantially with those two changes alone.
Mm-hmm.
And also means I will have to carry less finishing tools because I had two different finishing tools that were two different brands. And so if that'll eliminate one brand and get me on Frasia for both finishing and roughing, and I will use the same tool for both, just two different tool numbers. And so I think in the long run that'll be much better. So that's my plan.
Makes sense.
So we'll see. I think it could have some success there for cutting down our tooling costs. Because to put things in perspective, last year I think we spent close to $70,000 in tooling.
I made more than $70,000 last year in revenue, but not by a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can get on to me for tooling costs all you want, but that's a lot of tooling.
Yeah, it is. It is. Manufacturing is expensive.
Yeah. So I don't know if it was quite 70. It might have been 60 something, but I feel like it was right at 70 or close to it. So it was a lot.
Yeah, I profited $84,000 last year. That was my profit number. So revenue would have been north of that, but
yeah. So I spent almost as much in tooling as you made in profit.
Yeah.
So
though that leads into what I'm doing this month. So I have set a challenge for myself. And this will be YouTube video, so we're doing the YouTube challenge kind of thing here, and this probably be a short series of videos. But in June, and I'm technically including the 2 days before June, but don't worry about that. So from May 28th until June 28th, I'm trying to profit $20,000. That's my goal. So,
and are you doing anything? Are you doing anything in particular to try to make that successful, or are you just trying to track it? Like, what's your strategy there?
Just make parts.
Just make parts.
Just make parts. So I don't have a whole lot else going on in June, but like at this point, my systems have gotten pretty good. Where like as long as I have the work coming, it's actually not that out of the realm of possibility. As long as I have enough of the right jobs. And at the moment I think I'm at like 15,000 of jobs lined up. Some are great. Some like there's one or two jobs in there that are outstanding. There's a couple that are fine. There's one or two that's like meh. And then there's one that could go either way. But I'm already at 3,500. Depending on how you count one of the jobs, because it is a subtract job. And so I could technically count the full job, but I'm not counting the full job. I'm calling some of that subtract profits and some of that Audacity profits. But I don't know. I think I can make $20,000. And that'll be net, not gross in June. That's my goal.
20 net. That's doable. I feel like that's doable. So that's going to be close to $1,000 a day.
Assuming I don't work weekends, which I will.
Yeah, that'll be almost exactly $1,000 a day.
Yeah, which is 1,000 a day. Well, normally 1,000 in gross a day is kind of my goal. I think it was Dylan at Within Tolerance said that like if you're doing 1,000 a day as a machine shop, you're doing pretty well, or maybe 1,000 a day per person. And so that's kind of always been my goalpost. And lately, I've been doing that or much better. But I haven't. I mean, if I have been machining parts, I have been doing at least 1,000 a day, if not better, but I don't make parts every day. So it averages to less than 1,000 a day. But when I do have the right parts, I can do better. Like on the 28th, I did $2,000 worth of parts with $150 in costs. So like $1,800 in profits from that. These last parts I was doing, if you don't include the money that was going to subtract out of it, I think I was at $750 a day. The parts I have tomorrow will probably only be $600, but then I have parts that I've made before that are repeat work. I have the materials on hand. I have programs. I've set up and run this job, I think 5 times now. And that'll be a $3,000 day pretty easily. So, I don't know.
My goal has always been $1,000 a day per machine.
Per machine.
So that's
that
how
kind of
I've
makes
always,
sense.
That's how I've looked at it. And that's how I've always tried to operate as much as possible. And so that does mean that if I have machines sitting, that my daily rate goes down. So that kind of incentivizes me to try to keep as many machines going as I can. So, yeah.
Yeah. And we have not talked about this much on the podcast, but here's the reason why I'm doing it. So when I had designed the everything, like I tried to make it work too long. And in the process of trying to make it work too long, I took on some debt. Most of which was like, because I wasn't making money on Design the Everything. And because at the time we were really bad at budgeting, like, we racked up some credit card debt. I definitely tried to put more money into Design the Everything, into like ads and stuff to get it to work. And I ended up with, a bunch of debt coming out of that. And the reason why Audacity hasn't really grown much over the last year or two, at least in terms of like equipment and, like I haven't been buying stuff. I've been doing more work, but that's largely because my systems and skills are getting better. My equipment is really not that different than it was 2 years ago. And that's because I've been really working on paying down that debt. And so I have, as of right now, I have 13,000 of that left. And so I should be able to pretty quickly and easily knock that out. And then also have some money left over to invest back in the shop with things like work holding for Mongo. Like I really just need to spend like $3,000 on a whole bunch of little tiny import vices so that Mongo can run freely.
Yeah.
But I start another class like June 25th. It's only 2 days a week, but basically my goal is to get things done before that class starts again. So 20,000 before June 25th is my goal.
Sounds good. That'll be a fun challenge to try to see you get through.
Yeah. It feels like a little bit of a stretch. I think my record month, I have to go look at my notes, was somewhere around 18,000. And that did, I think, include a bigger project that I half finished the previous month. So maybe like 15,000 earned in a month is kind of my record. And so 20,000 is like 25% above that. And I have some good jobs right now, but I don't quite have enough good jobs for the whole thing. So it could go either way. I'm confident that it's possible. I'm not 100% confident that I'll quite make it.
Speaking of interesting things, I had my old boss reach out to me today.
Oh, really? Did he offer you a job?
Mm-hmm. Kind of.
Consulting?
On a contract basis. So he's got some design work he needs some help with, and wanted to know if I was interested.
And I hope you said no.
Well, we'll see. So the only reason I say that, there's
Harrison,
a story here.
No.
There is a story here.
To quote John from Business of Machining, John, no.
So there is a story here. So one of my last projects that I did at my old job was a project that was heavily done out of machine parts And the company that I worked for at the time was a fabrication shop that dealt mainly with sheet metal.
Mm-hmm.
And they had a Haas TM2P and
Okay.
a TL3 lathe with a manual chuck. That was it.
Mm-hmm.
And then maybe a manual Bridgeport or maybe a manual lathe. But that was the only two CNC machines they had. And I designed a product for one of their customers that was like 90% purchased and machined parts. Like there was like zero fabrication on it at all. And the company has been struggling to, my old company that I worked at has been struggling to produce those at a cost that basically the market could bear. And the
Mm-hmm.
guy who they're doing it for has been struggling to make a profit because of how much he has to charge for them. And so I reached out to him a couple weeks ago and wanted to know, hey, how things were going, and basically say, hey, that's basically all machine parts. If anything ever changes with whatnot, like we're much better set up nowadays to kind of take that work on. Um, and so he was really interested in it, and so he went back to my old boss and said, hey, I want to make some changes. And then my boss came to me and said, hey, do you want to help us out with this project? And so if it turns into something where I'm both designing and then manufacturing it on a production basis, that's what makes me interested in relooking at it, because it'll basically be bringing one of the things I've already done all the legwork once on and redoing it now 5 years later, with the potential of me bringing all the machining stuff in house here.
What would the volume be?
I'm not sure. I do know that he was ordering 50 units at a time from my old job. That's what he was ordering. So
Is that
and
50 assemblies or 50 machined parts?
50 50 assemblies, and each assembly had close to 50 parts. So it's a lot of parts. But that's what part of the reasons they want to do the redesign, because of how many parts there was in it. Try to get that quantity way down. And I think there's a lot of ways to do that. So
Mm-hmm.
I designed the product like a tank, and because it's for the consumer market, it does not need to be. It needs to be much. You could half the part count pretty easily, I think, and especially the weight, because it was a full stainless product, and I think you could introduce materials like aluminum to reduce the weight and reduce the cost.
Could you outsource the engineering and just get the job if you get the job?
Potentially. But it would be, for me, it would be a passion project that I would not work on at the shop. It would be, if I did the design work, it's something I would do at home in my
When your
off
wife is gone
hours,
for a month?
when my wife is gone for a month, for example. As something that would be like, I haven't designed stuff. I still have the desire to bring a product to market at some point, and this could be a really easy way to do that safer,
Mm-hmm.
as like a trial run. So like there's a lot of potential benefits that could come out of it, more than just, if it's just design it and hand them the design and walk away, I'm probably not going to do that. But if it's design it and then be responsible for machining some of the parts, I have some interest in that.
Yeah.
Especially if I get to design the parts I'm machining, then
That's always nice.
then I that gives me a lot more control over what I'm doing. And if I can do it in such a way that can also give me the ability to like work with them to make parts and kind of fill in things when I'm not super busy, like to keep an inventory on hand.
Yeah.
So kind of get a taste again of like the product space on a more personable level.
While still also being disconnected where you're not doing the marketing.
Exactly. So
Interesting.
yeah, it's an interesting proposition, because I kind of reached out to them because, um, quite frankly, a couple weeks ago, I was really good friends with this guy, the customer of the business, and I've kept up with him over the years a couple times. and I was thinking about him, and like I could not sleep one night, and for some reason I was thinking about that product that I designed, and I was like, oh, I could do this, I could do this, I could do this if I ever had the opportunity to redesign it and remake it. So I reached out to him out of the blue, just be like, hey, thought about you the other day, just wanted to see how things were going, and we just got to talking, and he wants to redesign it, and there's a potential opportunity for me to make the parts too. So I kind of started it, but what's funny is my old boss does not know that I've talked to him.
Okay.
So, and my old boss reached out to me of his own volition because I was the original designer, and he doesn't have any designers available that he trusts or have time available to redesign it.
Yeah.
So,
how complex of a design is it?
It is not super complex. It's kind of like a more complicated trailer jack.
Okay. My better question, the question I was actually asking would be, how hard would it be to outsource? Like, could you hand it off to your one of your employees, or easily find someone on the outside so that you can focus on the machining and let him do the design work?
So back before I got involved with the project, it went through about 3 or 4 different designers, and no one could design to this guy's standard. I was the only one that could work with him, and so I could potentially outsource it, but I'd have to be heavily involved in the formation of the design to meet this guy's, because me and him have a very similar design language, because it's got a cosmetic look and a functional look, and meeting both of those is kind of a challenge for everyone that's tried in the past that I know of.
And at this point, because you're not like, you don't need to build a relationship with a mechanical, engineer or mechanical designer. And so doing this one-off project with somebody on the outside would result in probably you doing more work than just doing it yourself.
Exactly. And it's a project I'm already familiar with. I already know all of the design constraints. I already know exactly, like, if it's just taking existing model and like simplifying it down and kind of keeping the same design language, it's all something like I'd have to refresh it. And I'd probably I don't know if I designed everything in Fusion or SolidWorks. That part I'm not sure of, but it would be pretty simple for me to come in and redo it all, especially if it's something I could just work on in the background in the evenings. Because I would like to get back into designing some stuff in general. Like, I've done a little bit of it, but like the most design stuff I get to do on a regular basis is like design like a 3D printed fixture for something. And so like I haven't really done any heavy design work in a while. And so just getting out of, I've been so focused on the machining side, like getting out of that space and rekindling some of my old skills is something that I have some interest in. So we'll see. I don't know what it's going to turn into, but there's potential there. And yeah, we'll see.
I mean, as long as it's not excuse me, as long as it's not distracting you from the main things that you should be focusing on.
That's why if I do this, I'm going to restrict it to where I can only work on the design when I'm at home and not at the shop. Because when I'm at the shop, that needs to be my number one focus no matter what. And so I don't want to focus on designing that while I'm there, because I need to be focused on keeping the shop running. So that's why it would be more of a passion side gig than something I'm going to do there.
Yeah, that's fair. And there is sound good business advice, and sometimes that sound good business advice will be very clear on the thing you should do and the direction you should go. But no, I want to do it this way because of fun is a very real good response to that sound business advice. Like we started businesses because we wanted the freedom and flexibility to do what we want. And sometimes what we want is not going to be the, quote unquote best thing for the business, and that's okay because that's your choice.
What would make this the wrong choice in my mind is if it was something that I was going to try to morph the business to make work.
Yes. Yeah, that would definitely be the wrong choice.
And so that's kind of the differentiator in my mind is I need to be able to make this work without affecting the business. If it affects the business, even if it is for fun, it's a bad decision. But it's worth me hearing them out, and it's worth me scheduling some time to like go have a meeting during normal business hours, provided that is like the only time that I spend on it. Like if I can go spend a couple hours in the afternoon to go sit down with them, talk to them, get all the details, and then the rest of the time is outside of normal business operating hours, then I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Because first and foremost, my focus is the machine shop. So, but yeah, I do want to start designing some stuff again because I have my own product ideas I want to bring to market, and I have one product idea in mind I want to do, but I have not gotten up the motivation to start designing it. And so this might give me the kick to see if it's something I want to try to tackle.
I really enjoy designing products. Like I like designing things. I mean, this is where designing everything came from. I have noticed I have felt that itch much less recently, and I think it has been scratched by doing things like working on AMRP and designing my Kanban system. And I am like right now I'm working on building some more processes around YouTube and trying to make that more sustainable without AJ like getting interested enough to record something one day. And like spending the time thinking about lean and the best ways of implementing that, and am I doing these things the right way? And like I think a lot of the it's still design, it's just a different kind of design, and it scratches that itch for me.
So what kind of made me really think about this was a couple months ago, I had a really complex 3D print that I need to go back and redesign because of things. But it was had a bunch of linkages and springs, and like it was an assembly as a 3D print. And I had so much fun designing that up. And I just had a ball. And it just kind of rekindled that side of what I can do. And kind of scratch that itch a little bit. And so I kind of want to try again, but I just, for like designing a product, I haven't had the passion or the desire to really do that yet. So we'll see.
Yeah. The problem with products is after you design them and like you do all the fun parts, then you have to figure out how to market them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which I know some people would see as the fun part, but
yeah. Yeah. Getting my guitar people the product that they designed, they thought that they were gonna like sell a whole bunch of them, and they're still on the first batch and haven't sold very much of it at all. They're discovering how hard.
I thought they had like a big resurgence.
That's what they thought. They are nowhere. I think they went to one trade show, they heard all this positive feedback and thought the orders were going to start flying in, and it's been crickets.
Yeah.
Very much crickets. To the point where like sometimes I forget that we have, a whole bunch of parts on order from them that we've just been holding off on because like for a while, I thought, I heard through the grapevine that they were asking other shops because they were worried about this huge high demand. And they still haven't gotten through the parts that we did for them at the beginning of this year. Like they still haven't gone through like a quarter of what we did for them. So,
and they have a blanket PO with a bunch more parts left.
Yeah, they have a blanket PO that they have to buy by the end of the year, according to the way we wrote it, the proposal. And so we've delivered 1/3 of the order so far. But
I would say I would check with them before you make any parts because I don't know if they're going to follow through with that PO.
I mean, I've got like the second third basically almost done and sitting on a shelf already. So I'd only have one more third left. But that they spurred us to be able to afford the robot with the first run, the first 1/3 run.
Oh yeah,
So,
I forgot about that.
so in a way, they've kind of allowed us to get that robot, and so it's kind of paid for itself already. But
Yeah.
they also have kind of burned us in a way because I've got a lot of finished parts that are just sitting on the shelf that have been waiting for them to come pick up. So I have a lot of inventory on hand and so I've been putting off making more parts, with the only reason that I will make more parts at this point is if the machine is just sitting there. I already have the material, I already have the tooling. All it's going to cost me is the electricity and machine time. And then if they do end up selling them, then they can pick them up. So, and we've got
Yeah.
it wrote in such we've got it wrote in such a way that they got to do it. And like, if I end up having to throw all that stuff away, at that point, like, if the machine was already just going to sit there, it's not that expensive to in electricity to run it. That like it is more wear and tear on my machine and stuff, but the
And
potential,
opportunity
like,
cost, but
yeah. But like if it's sitting there and it's not going to run on anything else, I would much rather my machine run on a part that I could will hopefully get paid for and get my money back and out of it. Like, but there's a reason I haven't made any in like 4 months or so at this point. So like I haven't made any more since in a while. So like, and I've been able to keep that machine plenty busy as is. So
it's wild to me that they over ordered by this much.
they thought it was going to take off and run, and like, it's one of those things that like I looked at it as someone who has a little bit of exposure in this area, and I didn't have the same zeal that they did, but I wasn't an expert in that particular area. And
Mhm.
looking at the product, it is a very good product. I think it has a lot of that potential, but it's entering a market that it's offering something that's very different than what is currently out there. And you have to train your customer and convince them to switch.
It's the downside of Blue Ocean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and in my opinion as well, they're trying to copy someone else's design and then just change the engineering way that it works to where it also is visually very similar to what exists on the market, which is also, I think, going to hurt them in the long run.
Yeah.
Like, I think they needed to make it visually different to distinguish themselves from what it exists on the market as well.
Because you can't look at your favorite musician on stage and go, wow, look at that. He's using a, Stratocaster
Exactly.
9000. I want a Stratocaster 9000. But
Yeah.
yeah.
They literally like reverse engineered like the default part that was sold on most of these guitars to where like visually you can't hardly tell that there's any difference between them. So like I feel like they need to be so different that it is adds a visual difference to the guitar as well. But that's the difference between having an engineer come up with a product and a product salesman or a product person.
And this stuff is really easy in retrospect.
Yeah. So, and
it's one of those things where not to.
Go ahead.
I feel like you should know not to order big amounts of inventory if you don't have a proven market and sales plan.
It was 3 people that were far older than me and had far more experience in this world than me.
It's not your problem until it does become your problem, which in this case it might. But like, hey, if they give you a PO, like, woohoo.
Yeah.
But I don't know. This is why overproduction is the number one lean waste.
Yeah.
So, they were probably trying to do it to drive their prices down, I imagine.
They definitely were.
And so they were so concerned about getting that price lower that they spent way too much money. Like they were trying to worry about spending money. So they spent more money than they should have.
Yeah. And the price that they're trying to sell it for, they have so much margin on it based on how low they were able to get their product, based on how much they're ordering, that like they really needed to lower their price to get people actually interested in it, because they're also way more expensive than their competitors. So they look identical and they're more expensive, even though they don't have to be.
I
So
mean, there's something to be said for pricing your product for what it's worth, not how much it costs.
yeah, but they need to buy eyeballs at this point.
Yeah.
Like I mean, think about Grimsmo. Grimsmo couldn't have started selling $1,000 knife and got to the point where he is. It would have slowed him way down if he started out selling $1,000 knife from his home until he got that recognition.
But he was still starting at like $300 or $400.
Yes, but for custom knives, that's really cheap. For what he was doing, that was still really cheap. I mean, you look at that market today of people that do what he does, and $1,000 knife is very reasonable for that market. So $300 was way undercutting for what it was. And the way you could tell that is people would buy his knives at $300 and then sell them for like $500 or $600. And so he started raising his price over time because people were literally buying and reselling his product at higher rates. And so he got a lot of, whether it was intentional or not, he got a lot of market share early on and got very popular because it was an undervalued product. And he had his whole YouTube stuff. Like, he had a lot of other stuff going for him, but I think that was one thing that also was going for him in the beginning. And companies use that companies have that as a strategy of buying market share by underbidding.
Oh, yeah. I look at like Uber or Xometry.
Yeah. So, I mean, like, it is a very common strategy to get popular enough to where you can get to a sustainable volume, and then you start ratcheting up your price. I mean, that's how like every subscription service that has ever existed works.
That's how, like, so my dad was a executive at AT&T, and I remember him saying a long time ago that like that's literally their business plan is they go into an area with the prices cheap and then they just slowly ratchet it up.
Mm-hmm. And so for them, it wouldn't necessarily be to be malicious, but to even see if it's a popular product. Because if you can't sell it at cheap, then there's no way you're going to be able to really sell it at expensive, I don't think. Now, there are weird cases where you can raise your price and increase your volume. Mm-hmm. I've heard stories about that, but I feel like there has to be a very specific set of scenarios where that starts to work. And usually it's in the world of like fashion or
luxury.
Or luxury that works.
Or medicine. It very much works in medicine too.
Yeah. So, but that would never work for like Coca-Cola or like Pepsi or anything like that.
Yeah.
So more commodity items, you can't really raise the price on a commodity item and see the volume of sales go up typically.
Yeah.
There's your Apple.
I would just, I assume that, I think it was on a podcast where they were talking about a study that was done on like medicines where the more expensive medicines, like the more expensive headache medicine, people would they would walk into a store with a headache and just want to solve the problem. So they buy the most expensive one thinking that'll solve the problem. But then because they have more confidence in the more expensive one, they get placeboed. And even though it's the same drug, it does work better.
Yeah. There is definitely an element of that too.
Yeah.
So, but they're so different. It would be like having medicine for a headache when no one else does, and everyone else is used to just sticking an ice patch on their head or something instead.
Yeah, like trying to convince them to get it. The world that they need to take a pill to solve a headache.
Yeah, basically. Yeah.
Well, speaking of headaches, we have Patreons. They solve our headaches.
That was the worst transition. Speaking of headaches, we have these group of people that are a big headache for us.
They solve the headaches. Only one of our patrons a headache, and you know who you are. All of our Patreons get access to our Patreon Discord, which is a super awesome community. It even hosts our show notes that I'm reading from now. If you want to participate in our weekly Q&A, which apparently nobody did this week, you can even join
AJ
the
was
Patreon
behind.
at a free tier. Yeah, Jacob just got married and he's already gotten all lazy
AJ.
from it. Wait, who'd you accuse? EJ?
I said AJ instead of Jacob for some reason.
I probably did get lazy as well. We have 2 new Patreons this episode. We have Bear Manufacturing and Lauren Brown. So thank you, Bear and Lauren. We appreciate you. Do you think Bear's first name is Bear?
I was thinking last name.
That could be. I hope it's his first name. Either that or he prefers a little bit of a breeze as he's machining.
Maybe.
We also want to give a special shout out to G28 Machining, our top Patreon at the sponsorship tier. They are a job shop and they do live tooled lathes and 5-axis. They have an FFL. They're an 0702 FFL. Do you know what that means?
0702 FFL? Form 7 and Form 2 FFL. So those are provisions for, I believe, suppressors and automatics.
Oh, cool. So if you need suppressors and automatics, and presumably suppressed automatics, G28 Machining. Our Patreons include, but are not limited to, CJ at CS Machine and Fabrication, which that also feels like a new name. So maybe that was from like last week that I didn't read. Mike at G28 Machine, our sponsor. Brian at Headco. Ben at Black Fox. Matt at Modern Fuel. Russell M. Joseph E. Brian B. Jacob S. Chris at CDS Plastics. John S. Alex H. Avery M. Chris B. at Puda Creek Precision. Josh at Lane Machine. Millen Y. Devin C. Christian O. Stephen M. Horse Pulverizer Incorporated. The hardest name to say on this list. Daniel R. James at Moultrie Made. Ryan at Ryan at Strato Manufacturing, Kyle at Kirsch Machine, Devin at Sinister Machine Works. I just posted a shop tour with Kyle at Kirsch Machine. I think it's in early access now, but it'll come out to the masses soon here. Devin at Sinister Machine Works, Greg at Frogtown Manufacturing, James N, Ben at Prickly Pear Prototypes, Cam S, Shep at Alderson Prototyping, Jacob at Zona Precision, Jason S, Joshua H, Christian Z, Leland B, Freaky Climber, Prescott at 1Z, 2Z Systems, Trey V, Alexander B, Scott at Design the Everything, Jamie at Nautical Work Holding, Chris at Zyke Precision, EJ Nocturnal Welding, Chris at Thought Bomb Design, and as ever, Jake Brownson. I didn't get to do my Nautical Work Holding bit, Harrison. This is the best part of the podcast. If you would like some really cool itty bitty teeny tiny dovetail vices, check out nauticalworkholding.com. If you'd like to join the Patreon, you can do so at nauticalworkholding.com. And nauticalwh.com for all of these. And please subscribe to our YouTube channel. We want to get to 1,000 subscribers so we can monetize it. You can also do that at nauticalwh.com. Just spell them differently and you'll get different ones. And I checked, I could not buy Jamie before Jamie. I also could not buy Jacob. Those were both taken, which was sad. I could buy AJ, but it's just hard to say. What were you saying, Harrison?
What I was going to say is Form 7 is for firearms manufacturing and Form 2 is for silencers. So neither one of them is for automatics. That was my bad on that. So we're technically also a Form 7 because we can do firearms. We don't have the Form 2 for suppressors.
Oh, and don't forget about the IMTS meetup that will be on Tuesday of IMTS at 2 p.m. at the Tormach booth, probably.
And hopefully they have some new toys for us to look at.
Ooh, that'd be cool.
I don't know if they do, but that'd be cool.
Oh, also, so I talked the school into letting me do an open class. So normally the classes I do are just for companies, but they are going to let me do a class for anybody who wants to come enroll. So I don't have details on that yet. It'll probably be the end of July, not January, the end of July. And it would be focused on programming and running Haas mills. So if that's something you might be interested in, send me an email or send the podcast a message or something. I'm still working out the details, but with Saunders not teaching classes anymore and me doing a whole lot of teaching, I figured that would be a good service that we could offer the community. I don't know price or anything yet. That's going to be determined by the school. But we have 5 Haas mills. So we can get even if there's 10 people, our person to machine ratio will be really high or really low. Our machine to person ratio will be high. And I've got a bunch of projects to do. And you will need to bring a laptop with Fusion on it. But I'll get you guys more details on that. Tell me if you're interested. The capacity will probably be fairly limited. I think we were talking about doing like a Thursday through Saturday or something like that. And this will be in Lebanon, Indiana, which is pretty close to the Indianapolis International Airport. So hit me up and we'll talk. I think that's all of our
Sounds
plugs.
Good.
I wonder if plugs.com is already taken. We put a link tree there. Plugs has to be taken.
Yeah, I don't know.
And it may not be something I want to look up right now.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Oh, no, it's open. Jamie, you have to buy plugs.com. It's got to be Jamie.
Are you buying another website?
Why is hover.com not... That's weird. I went to hover.com and it was like, their cert's expired, which would be really embarrassing for Hover. I hope it was just a problem on my computer. Plugs is available. Jamie, you can have it for $18.
Oh my goodness.
This has derailed me a lot. I feel like I still have something to talk about. I made some tiny ball and socket parts. Those were kind of fun. I ordered material for them, and then I ordered the wrong material because I needed black Ultim rods. And if you look at the Bodecker product pictures, if you look at the amber colored Ultim, the rod looks black in the picture. And so I just was kind of mindlessly buying stuff and it was like, oh, look, that picture is black. And the worst thing is I even went back and I looked at the different options because they have like a million different options for Ultim. And I was like making sure that I didn't have some weird variety. And it said natural. And I was like, oh, well, the natural one's got to be better than the one that doesn't say natural. I was thinking, not thinking that it was the color. I was thinking natural meant unfilled.
So natural as in came out of a tree?
No, apparently I was just in Oregon the other day. I was thinking, what's the term they use? Virgin. So you'll have virgin. If you buy Peak, it'll be unfilled virgin Peak is something that I buy a lot. And that's what I was thinking natural was. So
I could just see AJ searching for material. Natural virgin Peak.
Also, how you get to weird websites.
I was going to say that's going to be a very interesting search result there, AJ.
I need to check Bodecker now to make sure I'm not making up words. But I'm pretty sure that's what it says. Or maybe that's what Xometry says or something on their POs when you... I've been doing a lot of Peak recently. I have a drawer in my materials that is labeled exotic plastics. And that drawer is now filled entirely with just Peak. And I think I have one block of PSU. So it might need its own drawer now.
Random question for you. Would you be interested in buying drop pieces by the pound?
I'm not going to say, unfilled virgin Peak. I'm not crazy. Maybe.
Unfilled virgin. AJ, you're not helping your search results.
Hey, this is Bodecker. You've gone and made this weird. Do you need to be on the Lone Machinist podcast? Oh gosh.
No, we have a whole shelf of the drop material, And as we've been going to AS 9100, all of that material is not tracked. And so we've been trying to figure out if we need to empty it off and just start fresh. That way, everything that ends up on it ends up being tracked. And if we do, we were talking about potentially throwing it all in the recycle, or, I don't know if we want to go through the hassle of boxing it up and seeing if someone wants to buy it by the pound.
Do you have a lot of peak?
Not peak. It'll be like aluminum and stainless, mostly. Maybe some brass.
If I was closer to you, I would come buy it off your shelf. The shipping does make it less practical. Or if it was like Peak and Altum. The only problem is now almost everything I'm doing is requiring material certs, which becomes problematic. And it's literally the reason you're getting rid of the material.
Yeah. So,
on that note, so I had inside AMERP, I had a materials tracking module, and I got that working really well. And it's just like that system is, I don't want to say perfect, but it's fully functional. Like I don't have any friction points with it. I was talking like the setup sheet generator that I built before, where I was kind of like, this is, a lot of extra work I don't really need to do. The material stuff is perfect. Like it just works. It's exactly what I need. It's no more than I need. It's no less than I need. So I took that and I handed it off to Jacob and went, do this right. And so now Jacob is doing it right. And he's making a version that we can actually like distribute to people without like it, potentially risking breaking your computer or whatever. But it'll print out labels that you can stick on your material. It'll use my naming scheme, and maybe optionally let you use other naming schemes as well if you want to be boring. But it'll keep all of the materials certifications, any of the paperwork you have on that material. It'll keep it tied to that material, and it'll also let you tie it to jobs and print off labels that you can then stick on your material, or use a label maker and type in the name. And at some point here, we will release that to the public for the public's consumption. And I'll probably do a YouTube video showing people how to use it. I've been very happy with that system. I got vinyl labels, and I found out those are the right kind of labels you want on material. They seem to be waterproof. At least the paper is, maybe not the adhesive, but they don't disintegrate if they get coolant on them. So that's a pretty good step in the right direction. Or you can just label maker them. So.
Good deal.
And this system, the way it's set up, it's not like your material certs go into this and then they're lost forever in this database that you can't get out of. It keeps the database is like just a folder system. So even if this piece of software were to go away, you could go back and open your folders and you would have all of the certificates there in a properly labeled file tree. So you could easily, if you switch to ProShop or something down the line and had a more integrated software package, you would still have all the information. You wouldn't be, tied in or losing anything. Inspired by Obsidian, which is our favorite note tracker app, if anybody's familiar with Obsidian.
That'll be cool to see. I want to see a video on that, see how it does.
Yeah, it's probably a week away or so. The video might be a little bit slower just because of the production schedule. That makes it sound fancy. Because the Kyle video is posting on Friday, I think. And then I just recorded the first of the 20K challenge video or whatever we're going to call that.
How many more Tormach videos do you have to do? Or are you done with those?
Not many.
Not many?
Not many.
I saw you did another one, like a review on your machine. So I watched most of that.
People seem to like that one. That one's getting a fair amount of views.
Yeah, that machine is, not that their past machines were bad, but that machine seems like a major step up.
It is
from everything
huge.
I've seen.
It makes their other machines look bad. Yeah. The TLDR of that video is the Tormach 1500 is good. Actually, I think it's great, especially for the price. And it had some issues on day one when it came out, but because Tormach is a good company, they fixed them. So the last issue I had with it was my gearbox where the screws were getting loose. And while I was recording that video, they sent me a replacement gearbox. And now that's just solved and it's gone, and I don't have to worry about that ever again.
Yeah, really like the idea you had of like them selling a higher power 3-phase version of it. I think that'd be cool.
I don't think they ever will. I think it's like
probably not
a Tormach rule, but like core to their philosophies, they don't do 3-phase machines.
Yeah.
I could be wrong. I don't know. And the Mongo integration keeps getting farther and farther along. We are now building the electrical enclosure for him. And we were
that's another cool project.
We were starting to control some new like valves and stuff. So the auto door right now is not hooked into Mongo, but hooked into a button. So we can auto door. And eventually we'll just take the contacts out of that button and put it in Mongo.
It still has the same like tablet to like program it.
The UR,
yeah. Are you and you're using the IO board on the robot to control the solenoid?
The IO board will talk to our control panel, and then our control panel, like through relays, and then the relays do all the stuff and things.
But like, are you triggering it with the robot or the
yes.
CNC? The robot, okay.
At least the auto door. We haven't talked about the vice yet, or maybe we talked about that last episode. I talked to someone about that.
We talked about it because you were wanting to know what to do, and I was telling you that VersaBuilt had some valves that you could go between automatic and manual.
Yeah. That we're doing with just an OR gate. Oh, I think the conclusion we came to was the robot will control the valves, but the Tormach will have a pressure switch. And so if it feels the vice's release or the 0 points release, it can stop. That was, I think, our conclusion. We're not there yet.
Gotcha.
I don't think I'm going to have my intern too much longer. I need to talk to him and figure out when his last day is going to be. I don't think we'll quite have Mongo at 100%. But mechanically, he'll probably be almost all the way there.
Good deal. Well, that's about all I got.
Cool. I feel like there's something to talk about subtract-wise, but really it's been kind of, at least on the progress front, it's been slow because Jacob's been gone. Like, he's the one that drives our technology forwards. I've been kind of working on systems and processes for our shop. We've gotten a couple POs over the last couple of days, but it's kind of still been steady state. We're about to redo our website, and I don't know, not really too much exciting there.
Yep.
Maybe we'll talk about this next episode because Harrison's trying to kick me off. If you only had control of the buttons, teaching versus Audacity is something that I keep going back and forth on, and I've been going back and forth on it for months. But the problem is now both of them are paying me pretty well, and I feel like I have to choose, but I keep not choosing. So
if you don't choose, both will suffer.
Yes. Yep. That is the problem. But with teaching, if I was teaching full time, I could be at like 180K. And if I was doing Audacity full time, I could be similar-ish. So I don't know what I do. We'll talk about that next episode.
Sounds good. All right, guys, we've reached the end of the podcast where our ramblings have come to an end. And if you've hung out with us this long, we appreciate you guys doing that.
Suckers.
Yeah. We've taken an hour and a half of your time. No. So,
thanks for hanging out. On 1.25 speed.
All right, guys. For the final time, thanks for hanging out. If this is still in the recording. If it's not, it doesn't matter. So, catch you next time. Taps and patience, our daily grind. In this machine shop, we'll always find joyous struggles, all intertwined. Taps and patience, one of a kind. If you live on double speed, you suck. No, just kidding.
Hey, no, you need to listen to podcasts fast.
That's true. If you listen to it fast, does it still count the same? Like, do they
Who
care?
listens to us on normal speed? It does get counted the same, actually.
Oh, it does?
I want to know who listens to us on normal speed and why you would do that to yourself.
I do listen to a lot of stuff on double speed. I'll take that back. But like, we need to like talk like super slow so that double speed sounds normal is what I was trying to think. But whatever.
Maybe you should try to talk fast so that the normies can have a taste of double speed.
There you go.
So we're great at outros.
We are awesome at outros. All right, guys.
I learned that Jacob has been cutting our outros out, which is sad.
Yeah.
But probably also
He's
better
probably
going
to cut this one. He's probably going to cut this one.
Did we just finish the song?
I think we did. I don't think we've ever done that.